Okay, if you take a break like I did, the big important thing is to make sure that you put everything back the way it was. So the space here, so I'm paying attention to everything. So I don't want to change my hand position because then all of a sudden my drawing would look like I didn't do it correctly. When I've been paying attention, so I know I've done it correctly. So I was along here, so I'm paying attention to the space between my fingers. Something else I can look at is this fingernail versus this fingernail. So this one I see is behind the one that I'm about to draw. So I need to look at, well, here's the end of this one and it begins just before the end of it. So that is right about where I'm at right now. So I'm going to use what I'm seeing, drawing and making that observation. So I'm doing this slow, continuous line. This fingernail actually needs to be wider, so I'm going to replace that a little bit. So again, don't waste time with your eraser. I know you know how to use an eraser. I want you to keep going with your drawing. So here, this is going this way, and this line starts to disappear because now I can see, and hopefully you guys see it too, this finger's starting to overlap that one a little bit. So what's happening here is the knuckle for this is actually behind it because now I've gone from my fingers getting longer to this finger got shorter. So this knuckle, I'm using it to measure and see that it's actually lower. It's behind the other one. So along here, don't see a whole lot of space between these fingers. There's like a tiny little gap that's just barely noticeable. Pay attention to where the fingernail goes. So the fingernail starts before the other one did, and it ends before I get to the tip of the other finger. So this should not be sticking out here. It should be behind just like you see it over here. So this comes this way. Now this is where we find out have we been paying attention. Plus you find out the benefits of drawing your other fingers and doing your thumb last. So a lot of people would want to say, a lot of little kids, and you guys aren't little kids because you'll think more than that about your artwork. A lot of us would get here and put the thumb on there. But if you pay attention to these lines where all the fingers start on my hand, this is where this is. Your thumb is not there. So I need to pay attention to that. I need to keep going backwards and watching what the line does. And this is where I actually see some stuff happening. And then the thumb actually points in a different direction, so we're going to go this way. I see this contour happening. So I can pay attention because this gets really tricky. The thumb is shaped differently than the other fingers, so it's pointing in a different direction. So if I want to know, well, how long should this be? What can I look for that I notice in real life on my hand? Well, my thumbnail is in line with the knuckles here. The knuckles here in the drawing, that's where it should end up. So if I need to, put a little mark there so I make sure that's my goal. That's where I want to get to. So these are all things that I'm kind of thinking about in my head as I'm drawing. So these are tricks for measuring. When you practice, if your hand is not your favorite drawing in the world, you're going to notice you included all your details, you did that correctly. You're going to notice that you have 5 fingers and everything. But what's going to be off a little bit at this point, since we're just now starting to practice this skill, is you're going to be off on your measuring. So if you try again a second version, then you're going to notice it gets a lot better because you're going to notice the things you want to change. So now I'm off the paper. So I'm finished with the drawing. So you guys will practice this on your own. The first one's not going to be perfect. That's why I said practice. We need to keep going so we'll get better at this. All right, guys, good luck.